There are moments in life when the obstacle in front of us isn't actually the obstacle. It may look like money, it may look like timing, it may look like another person's behavior is in the way of your success and happiness. But underneath all of those things is usually one decision that we made years ago from fear. And this Capricorn full moon on June the 29th, 2026, wants to show you exactly where that decision lives. And once you see it, once you see where you made this decision and understand why you made this decision, you can make a different one. This is an unusual full moon. The moon is out of bounds, which means she has wandered beyond the path normally governed by the sun. If you're interested in learning more about out of bounds planets, please watch the video I made on OOB planets, out of bounds planets. Anyway, so the moon is out of bounds, far away from the sun's area of control. She's literally cruising through no man's land, and emotion is louder than logic. Intuition is stronger than certainty. And many of us are feeling more sensitive than usual, more emotional, more tired. If you're feeling more tired, by the way, it's not only the fact that the moon is out of bounds or heading towards out of bounds, if you're watching this early. If you're feeling very lethargic, fatigued, it's also because of Mars conjunct Uranus at this time. Mars is energy, Uranus is electricity, and either you're experiencing a breakthrough right now or you're feeling absolutely zapped. Okay. Anyway, back to the moon. Your emotions aren't your problem. At this time, your emotions are the messenger. So you want to be paying attention to your feelings. The ruler of this full moon is Saturn, and Saturn is in Aries, the sign of his fall, which made me think of an old Grimm fairy tale, which I will share with you shortly. But in this fairy tale, the king becomes lost in a dark forest, and terrified, he makes a decision from fear rather than wisdom. And that one fearful choice eventually places his entire family under a curse. This is very Saturn in Aries, not because Saturn in Aries is evil, but because the shadow side of Aries is making impulsive decisions out of fear, okay? So this full moon is going to ask, where are you afraid, or where are you making decisions because you're afraid? Okay, so let's get into the story. The story is the Six Swans. And the story begins with a king who becomes lost in a dark forest while he was out hunting. Frightened and desperate, he meets a witch who offers to save his life. But she will only save his life, she will only show him the path out of the forest if he agrees to marry her daughter. Out of fear, of course, the king says yes, he will marry her daughter. After all, he is a widower. His wife had passed away years ago. So it seems like a small decision that is made here, but it's going to change everything. The king has 7 children, and afraid that his new wife might harm them, because after all, she is the daughter of a witch, he hides them deep in the forest in a tower. Eventually, the new wife discovers his children and throws enchanted shirts over the 6 brothers and transforms them into swans. Only their sister escapes this enchantment, this curse. So determined to save them, the sister learns that she can break the curse, but only under one seemingly impossible condition. She must sew 6 shirts from wild asters. Now, asters are these beautiful flowers that look like stars, and I'll share a picture of it here. Now, while she is sewing these 6 shirts, there are conditions she must follow. She must not speak. She must not utter one word. She can't defend herself. She can't say anything. So years pass. She sews in silence because this is really a difficult task. She sews in silence while enduring accusation, loneliness, and misunderstanding. She even falls in love with another king, and this king adores her, but is convinced that he's married a mute, doesn't ask much of her. And, she can't say anything to him. She cannot explain herself. Eventually, she's condemned to die for crimes she never committed. And if you want to know the longer version of this story, please follow me on Substack, where I break this all down and I tell you how it's correlating to the astrology. Anyway, so she's condemned by her mother-in-law to die and to be burnt at the stake as a witch, because her mother-in-law just, she finds her daughter-in-law very strange. She doesn't speak. But anyway, she's led to the fire. And as she's being led to stake to burn, she's still sewing the final shirt. And at the very last moment, the six swans descend from the sky, her brothers, right, who have been transformed into the swans. They descend from the sky and she throws the shirts over them. And the curse is broken and her brothers are transformed back into these princes. And finally, she speaks the truth and justice is restored, except for one small detail. The last shirt that she had been sewing on her way as she was walking towards the stake to be burnt was incomplete. So one brother keeps a swan's wing instead of an arm. What does this say? It says that healing doesn't erase what's happened. It transforms. And that's exactly what I see in this Capricorn full moon. This isn't about dramatic breakthroughs. It's about the work that you've been doing that no one else has seen. It's the work that asks you to keep showing up one stitch at a time, because sometimes the greatest transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens because you refuse to stop sewing, stop doing the thing that you know you need to do. So again, the Cancer Capricorn axis that's at play here, and I will share the lunation chart with you, and I will do short horoscopes for each sign, for your rising and sun sign. This Cancer Capricorn axis that's activated at this time is asking you to remember your devotion. Who or what are you doing your work for? This work that you feel absolutely compelled to do, who are you doing it for? If your labor has become unconscious duty, if you've been sowing in the dark for so long that you've forgotten why you began, this full moon asks you to return to the love that first called you. Okay. Okay, so this is the event chart, the full moon in Capricorn, and you can see that the moon is at 8 degrees of Capricorn, and of course, sun opposite in Cancer. And the ruler of this lunation is Saturn here in Aries at 14 degrees of Aries, and Saturn is in a trine to Venus in Leo. Now, what this immediately tells us is that most of us are receiving something, or we have recently received something. It could be a bonus, it could be a promotion, it could be a tidy sum of money. It could also be that you have committed to a partnership recently, a business partnership, a love relationship. Perhaps you married recently, so that has changed. But whenever these two, the Saturn and Venus, whenever they are in a harmonious aspect like this trine, there is usually a reward for effort, for commitment, for something that you've done, you've really invested work into, or you invested yourself in. So that's the beautiful thing about this full moon. I do see a reward coming in, some sort of benefit. And do leave a comment if that has happened for you. And the other thing that is worth mentioning here, because it's a very important one, is that we have Mars in an approaching conjunction to Uranus. It's going to be exact later on in this coming week, the first week in July. Now, there's a lot of ways to break this down. Generally, this tends to be a dangerous meeting. Mars with Uranus is unexpected accidents, violence. Psychologically, this is people making rash decisions, acting impulsively. On a more mundane level, a collective level, this we can expect things like, more power outages. That's a guarantee. I mean, we have a lot of astrologers already speaking about the earthquakes which happened, which may continue to happen. This is wildfires. This is heat waves. Okay. But the thing that really is coming to the fore here for me, what I'm picking up is just people feeling frazzled. Okay, mentally frazzled, exhausted, fatigued, just because it's happening in Gemini. So you may be feeling unfocused, distracted, frazzled, and again, prone to making rash decisions. Remember too that Mercury is stationing retrograde on this day, on the day of the full moon, on the 29th of June. And Jupiter's preparing to leave Cancer and about to enter Leo. There's a lot going on here. If you can, the best way to welcome this full moon, to enjoy this full moon, is in silence, in some sort of peaceful environment, okay, where you are just able to sit with your thoughts and where you're not being forced to make any decisions. Again, the atmosphere at this time is not conducive to or inviting serious conversations. I mean, this is not the time to be signing contracts or, nothing like that. So you want to be as quiet as possible, because there's just so much. You'll feel like you're being bombarded. Again, many astrologers are speaking about this. There's probably going to be some sort of revelation or event in this first week of July coming up that is going to concern people, astound people, electrify the collective, demand an extraordinary response from us. So yeah, you need to just be as calm, as quiet as possible. Now, we've covered those things. Let me also remind you that Uranus is the awakener, the great awakener, the planet that brings things to consciousness, makes us aware of things. So for many of us, this full moon in Capricorn is this revelation, this aha moment. Oh, okay. If you listen to the first part of this video, I invite you to reflect on the story that I shared, the fairy tale of the Six Swans. Okay, because you cannot respond to what's coming or what has recently happened in your life or what will happen collectively out of fear. Let me leave it at that. Okay, Aries, Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in your 10th house of career, profession, your reputation, and with, Saturn in this beautiful trine to Venus in Leo. What is happening here is there's been a reward of some sort, possibly a creative reward. You may be pregnant. If you've been wanting children, you may find yourself, you may have, a child now, or you will be pregnant soon. You may have a new lover and things are going well. What else could be happening here? More money in your pocket is a possibility. More clients because your reputation is growing. You've had a shift in your identity. Your sense of identity has changed. Maybe you've changed your appearance. You're really liking how you're feeling, how you're looking. Where I want you to be careful, Aries, Sun and Rising, is with your words because of this Mars-Uranus conjunction in the third house. Be aware of what you're saying, how you're speaking to others. You may be coming across as very rash, possibly cruel. Be aware of your words there, how you're communicating with others. But you may also be on the receiving end of unexpected and unwanted conversations or messages from siblings, possibly neighbors, cousins, aunts, uncles. That is also a possibility. What else? Be careful on the roads, right? Especially moving around within your, your city or your neighborhood. This is like short journeys, so be careful in just traveling in general. Make sure that you check your car, your vehicle, just be more aware, be more cautious, okay, on the road. Okay, Aries Sun and Rising. Let me know if this is resonating with you. Taurus Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in your ninth house of travel, overseas travel, different cultures, meeting people from different cultures, foreigners, right? But also your religious beliefs, your philosophy, how you see yourself, or not really what you're believing. Now, there is a reward that you've already received this or is coming away. You may, for example, be moving house. You may have purchased a house. You may be purchasing a house, an apartment. Um, you may be thinking of moving overseas. This is a really big possibility. You may be moving to a foreign country, contemplating. Maybe you've done it. Maybe you have got the necessary paperwork, permits, visas, whatever you need. Maybe that's come through. What I want you to be careful of, Taurus, Sun and Rising, over the next week in particular, is watch your money carefully. You may lose money in some deal, uh, possibly to do with, let me just double check here. Yeah. You may have lost money in some sort of, gosh, I'm going to say investment deal or some sort of thing that you got involved with a sibling or a person that is younger than you. It could even be a purchase around cars. Well, I mean, cars lose value anyway, immediately. But anyway, it's something to do with a sudden, unexpected monetary loss. Yeah. Taurus, let me know in the comments if this is resonating, is making more sense with you. Maybe, a sibling requires help and you need to send them money, you have to give them money, lend them money, whatever, or a neighbor. But anyway, there's some sort of sudden development, unexpected development around there that is going to cost you money. It could be, something to do with property lines, fighting with a neighbor over something. Anyway, okay, Taurus, Sun and Rising, let me know if this resonated with you. Gemini, Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in your eighth house of other people's money, mortgage, bank loans, that kind of thing. Intimacy, sex, death, inheritances, payouts, tax payouts, insurance payouts. And so what I see happening here is that you are definitely seeing money coming in. So there's been people are helping you out, possibly your partner, marriage partner, a lover, maybe spending money on you, giving you money. But it could also be a bank. The bank, you may have asked for a loan. Maybe you want to buy a house, property. Maybe you want to buy a car, but there's definitely a loan has been approved. If you've applied, a loan has been approved, or there's just money coming in generally. The other thing that I want to caution you about here, I want you to, well, first of all, Gemini, you have certainly, because you've got this conjunction with Mars and Uranus happening in your first house, you've definitely awakened to some truth, some realization. And this realization is about possibly people that you work with, people that you're in, people that you're working with, in particular your colleagues, but also groups and your friends. Sudden awakening or realization about a friend or people at work that is not really necessarily pleasant. There may even be an abrupt departure from a particular group or association. You're just not wanting to engage with these people anymore. What else is there? And yeah, lastly, I see help from a neighbor or from a sibling coming through or coming in, or you may be helping a neighbor or a sibling. All right, Gemini, Sun and Rising, let me know if this resonated with you. Cancer, Sun and Rising. So we have this lunation occurring in our seventh house of, business partners, marriage partners. So what's happening around this full moon is you may find yourself, engaging with maybe the possibility of getting into business partnership with another person. You may be collaborating more with other people. You're definitely in a collaborative mood. Your marriage is coming into focus here as well. There is definitely a reward professionally. I see money coming in from clients. Um, the more you show up, the more you, yeah, show up online, or just become more visible, the more rewards for your efforts and for your work that's coming through strongly. The warning here, and it's not really much of a warning because it's in the 12th house here, is the Mars-Uranus conjunction. You are going to be experiencing awakening and a spiritual awakening. You may be receiving messages from spirit at this time, from ancestors. If you have, if you're clairvoyant or, psychic, you're picking up on messages for sure. I know that I've had this experience. It started about a week ago already. Um, it's going to be surprising for some of, if you're not particularly psychic, or if you don't feel like you're particularly sensitive to these things, Cancer, Sun or Rising, you are going to be surprised by what you're picking up. It's going to change you psychologically. There's some sort of shift in the way you think, the way you perceive the world. All right, and what else do I see here? And it's a positive lunation. This month comes to a very good ending. Okay, excellent ending for the month. Okay, Cancer, Sun, and Rising, let me know if this resonated with you. Leo, Sun, and Rising, this lunation occurs in your sixth house of, work, job, your job, um, everyday activities, your daily routine, food, health regimen, that kind of thing, exercise, pets. And so what I see here is that you are, you may have got a new pet recently. You may be traveling, Leo, at this time, break from work, and you may be traveling, and yeah, okay, this is going to be interesting. If you're traveling right now around this time of the full moon, you may be experiencing delays, but these delays actually work out in your favor, if that makes any sense. No one wants to be delayed, but it's going to work out in your favor. Um, hmm. Yeah, I'm really picking up on you meeting foreigners that are, or dealing with foreigners that are expanding your sense of self, changing your beliefs. And you've got this conjunction of Mars and Uranus happening in your 11th house. So there may be an abrupt departure from a group or association that you're going to leave. You're going to just move away from a group of people. You're going to not be around. You're not going to be a member of this club, for example, whatever it is, this club, this group of people. You're going to abruptly move away from that. You're probably experiencing a lot of frustration with, your Wi-Fi, with communications online. probably more so than most of us, Leo, Sun and Rising. You're going to have a lot of that. A lot of, I'd be I'd be wary of spending too much time this coming week, the first week of July, online. If you can, try and get away, travel for the first week of July. Just not a good time for you to be online. It's going to be irritating. You possibly not going to be making friends there either if you're spending too much time online. No, anyway, Leo, Sun and Rising, let me know if this is resonating with you. Okay, Virgo, Sun and Rising. This lunation is occurring in your fifth house of children, joy, creativity. And so what is happening here is there is a yeah, oh, okay, this could be all kinds of things. It could be that you are giving money to a child that desperately needs your help or has asked for help. It could be that you're setting up something like a living will. Um, it could also be that a child helps you out. You may suddenly find that you have to move in with a child, or a child has to suddenly move in with you. It has to do with money. It has to do It, yeah, definitely money related. Okay. Um, because on the professional side, your career side, there is an abrupt, sudden change to your career or your reputation. I think that you are going to make a change, a very sudden change, possibly to do with your online presence. You may be, you've suddenly, maybe you've left a job or a long-standing career kind of thing and starting a new career. You're starting something new. Anyway, let me know, Virgo, Sun and Rising, if this resonated with you. Libra, Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in your fourth house of home, and there may be abrupt changes or sudden changes in the home front this week. First week of July in particular. There is, you may have married recently, so, or, you have a long-term partner now, or you got into a business partnership now, basically sealed the deal kind of thing there. Um, Also involved, it's been like this last week towards the full moon. So I'm recording this on the Friday before the full moon. So what might be happening there is benefits coming to you from your association, friends, but also groups of people, contacts, cooperative, or you cooperating with others, and that somehow benefited you. Not necessarily financially, but certainly professionally and with your reputation, if that is making any sense. Okay. Again, I don't have access to your personal data, but yeah, that is the general feel there. Maybe maybe you're moving in with someone, with a friend, or it's through a friend that you find a new place, a new home. Okay. What I want you to be aware of is with this Mars conjunction Uranus in Gemini in the ninth house, is there's going to be a sudden shift to your belief system. Also, your encounters with people from other cultures is going to awaken something. It's like you're going to have this realization coming from someone from a different culture, right? This person is literally going to wake you up. Okay, just certain truths are going to be revealed. Okay, Libra, Sun and Rising. Let me know if this has already resonated. But yeah, just let's see what happens in this first week in July. Okay, Scorpio, Sun and Rising. So this lunation occurs in your third house of communication, siblings, neighborhood, short journeys, and you are possibly going to be taking a short journey around this full moon lunation. You may have recently got a pet. You may recently have started a new job, or been promoted or received a pay rise. There's been some sort of reward on that side of things. More money coming in from your work. Your work is, but also you are feeling quite proud of yourself in some sort of physical accomplishment. Maybe you've lost some weight, maybe you are feeling healthier, stronger. Um, and so it's some sort of reward for that, for your effort, for your physical effort there. I want you to be aware, Scorpio Sun and Rising, that you've got this Mars conjunct Uranus in the eighth, happening in the eighth house. And that could be the sudden departure of someone, right? Yeah. Um, Unexpectedly, someone may leave. Uh, and also possibly unexpected news around an inheritance or a payout of some sort. Anyway, Scorpio Sun and Rising, let me know if this resonated with you. Sagittarius Sun and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your second house of your self-worth, your sense of worth, right? Money, income, right? And you have received some sort of reward around, I feel like you've had a joyous experience coming through a child. If you have a child has possibly maybe been accepted into university or, graduated with honors or something like that. You're very proud of a child. If you have a child, if you want a child, then you may be pregnant at this time. Uh, Travel at this time has also been rewarding if you've been traveling. And I want you to be aware, Sagittarius Sun and Rising, that you have the Uranus-Mars conjunction happening in your seventh house of business partnerships and romantic partnerships. And there may be trouble in the home front at home with there may be trouble in your marriage. Again, I don't have access to your personal data, with your birth charts. I don't know exactly how this is, what planets are being activated by this particular conjunction. But yeah, possible trouble on the marriage front, possible trouble with business partners. Okay, Sagittarius, Sun and Rising, let me know if this is resonating with you. Capricorn, Sun and Rising, this is, of course, your lunation. This full moon is occurring in your first house of your identity, how you present yourself, how you come across. And you may have experienced, some sort of reward, a benefit, something happening in the home. Maybe you've done home improvements. You're proud of how your home's looking at this time or coming together, some sort of, home renovations. You may have moved. You may have recently been approved for a mortgage and you have found the place that you're going to, your forever home kind of thing, or an apartment. It's bringing you joy in, okay, so there's that. You could have also received an inheritance. So money coming in from an inheritance is a possibility, or an insurance payout. And then Capricorn, Sun and Rising, I want you to be aware that there may be trouble, unexpected events happening on the job front. Maybe layoffs, but it could also be a good thing. Again, I don't have access to your birth date. It could be that you get promoted rather unexpectedly, right? Okay, Capricorn, Sun and Rising, let me know if this resonated with you. Aquarius, Sun and Rising, I'm one of you. I'm an Aquarius rising. So let us see. We have this lunation occurring in our 12th house, which means this is a deeply psychological time, very spiritual as well. You're just feeling pulled towards meditating more, retreating, spending more time in silence. And yeah, the reward is that you've been rewarded through, if you've been trying to collaborate with other people, like business collaborations, this has really been rewarding at this time. It could also be that around this full moon, you have maybe committed to a business partnership, or you are now recently married, committed to a romantic relationship. You're married, or a long-term partner has moved in with you. And the thing I want you to be aware of is in the fifth house is, you've got this Mars-Uranus conjunction happening in the fifth house. And what this means is that there may be a sudden departure of a child. The child may might be leaving the nest, for example. But also sudden revelation around your creativity in a creative project that suddenly like either really works out really well, because Uranus, you never know with Uranus, it's either good or very bad. You know, it could be anything. You say if you wrote a book, for example, you could suddenly experience many sales, or it could be that your book does not, land so well, you experience no sales. That kind of thing. It's some sort of um, creative surprise. Okay, you could find out you're pregnant and you weren't expecting that. Okay. Next up, let me know if that resonated with you, Aquarius. Next up, Pisces, Sun and Rising. So this lunation is occurring in your 11th house of, networks, other people, well, networks of people, groups, associations. It's also the house of, wishes coming true. So Pisces, you may have a wish having come, something came true for you over the last few weeks or very close to this lunation, around money and job. So you may have received a payout, you may have received a pay increase or a bonus of some sort, money coming in. You may have also, it could be something like getting a pet. You've been wanting a pet, you've now got this pet. Opportunities at work, though, are increasing for you, Pisces, Sun and Rising. An opportunity for sure, an opportunity for more money in particular, possibly even promotion. But I can see you a better job if you've been applying for work. If you've been applying for work, you got the job. Okay. The thing I want you to be cautious of or aware of, Pisces, is that this Mars-Uranus conjunction is happening in your fourth house at home. And I'm sorry to say that this is probably going to be either plumbing problems, burst pipes. But because it's happening in Gemini, I suspect it's going to be electrical issues. Okay, so be aware of that. More than anything, this full moon asks you to keep sowing. If you don't know what I'm talking about here when I say sewing, please listen to the first part of this video. I want you to remember the sister who never knew whether another stitch would be the one that finally broke the curse. She never knew whether anyone would understand the work she was doing. She simply returned to it each day because love asked her to. There is something profoundly Capricorn about this. You never know where the offerings of your hands will land. You don't know whether the words you write will become the sentence that gives someone hope and inspiration. You don't know whether the kindness that you offer today will become the reason another person finds the strength to continue. And you don't know whether the business you're building, the child you're raising, the garden you're tending, the healing you're doing, or the ordinary acts of care you perform each day, you don't know if the day is coming, if the day will come where it's someone else's turning point, right? Most of us never get to witness the full reach of our labors, but that isn't why we do it. We do it because it is ours to do. And the sister in the story teaches us something that it is easy to forget in the world. In this world obsessed with recognition and, immediate gratification, sacred work does not depend upon applause. It depends upon devotion. So what I want you to do, what I want you to take from this is I want you to keep making your offerings, keep writing, keep drawing, keep painting, keep tending, keep sowing, keep loving, keep healing. You cannot know whose life your work may one day touch. Thank you for being here. It really means a lot to me that you're here and building this community with me. Thank you.